up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. If you guys saw my last video, I broke out every mod in this BMW F30, this 2017 330i. In that video, I basically just listed out the mods, but in today's video, I want to give you guys a price breakout. And you guys can let me know if I spent way too much money on this car, this 4-cylinder BMW. But before we actually jump into it, I want to caveat it with a few things. One, keep in mind guys, if you think I spent way too much money on this car, well, some of these parts are actually sponsored, so I actually probably got it for free or like half off or a heavy discount. What I'm gonna give you guys is the actual retail price, because if you want to do this yourself, that will give you a better idea. And again, the sponsored prices aren't relatable and really accurate for a normal person who just likes to modify their cars. But regardless, I did pay retail price for a lot of these things. Some of these things I actually just bought off of Facebook Marketplace, so there's no sponsorships there, that's for sure. So I did still pay a lot of money on this car. And if you guys are thinking like, well, that's just financially irresponsible, all that type of stuff, well, just keep in mind, I am sort of a part-time YouTuber. I do run this as a business, so me buying these parts is like me buying, you know, stuff to make videos and make money for, if that makes sense. Because I'll be honest with you guys, as much as I love cars, I don't think I'd be able to just spend this much money on a car if it was just for fun. I do have other responsibilities, but the fact that I am a YouTuber and I make money off of this stuff made it a lot easier for me. But anyways, with all that said, we're gonna jump into the list, and at the end, I'll give you guys a total price. I'll even tell you how much I paid for the car itself, and then we can add up everything together. And yeah, so with that said, guys, let's jump into it. All right, guys, so I have my handy dandy cheat sheet right over here. I have all the mods and all the prices listed on my phone. Something else I forgot to mention is these are gonna be like rounded prices. They're not gonna include taxes. They're not gonna include shipping. And if it was like $97 or something like that, I'm just gonna say 100 because, you know, who wants to complicate math, right? But with that said, let's jump into the first thing, and that is going to be the front. So for the front bumper, the M Sport bumper, I paid $550 for it. The black grills, I paid $30 for it. The red crossbars over here, like the V-brace ones, I spent about $20. And then this carbon fiber virus lip, which I destroyed anyways, I spent $550. Oh, and then one more thing I almost forgot are these emblems right over here. So this is the front, but I also have the ones for the rear. Together, they were $220. I know I'm running through this list really fast, guys, but again, in the last video, we went through things in a little more detail. So if you guys want to see that last video, go check it out after this one. But with that said, I'm just going to keep on running down the list because there's a lot of stuff to go through. So now moving on to the side, we have the M Sport side skirts. Those were $260. We also have the carbon fiber extensions, which were $240. The mirror caps over here in carbon fiber, the M style ones, were $200. The smoked out turn signals were about like $50. And then for the window tint, I actually had my friend do them. He always hooks it up, but I think typically they'll cost like 300 or 400 bucks. I think so. These are also Expel ceramic window tints. That's why they're a little more pricey. Also for these mud flaps for the front as well as the rear, they were $100. And now on to probably the most expensive thing on the car, the Apex wheels. These are about $1,500. And then the tires, which don't really count, but I'm still gonna add them to the list, were about $900. I got them from Costco. The BMW floating center cap over there was $100. And then the H&R lowering springs, which this car is currently sitting on, were about $220. All right, so we're gonna make our way to the back. So the M Sport rear bumper for the back here was $530. The 340 dual exhaust actually got off Facebook Marketplace, so prices are definitely going to vary, but I paid $250 for it. The carbon fiber diffuser to accommodate those dual exhaust tips was about $500. The rear splitters on the side over here, those were $220. And then the exhaust tips over here from Berger Motorsports was $180. Also another one before I forget, this spoiler, I actually couldn't find the link for it, but I believe it was about like $150, maybe $200, something like that. All right, so moving on to the interior, where I'm actually going to use the GoPro for the wide angle, but we have the carbon fiber trim, which was a whopping $600. That includes all the trim over here on the dash and also on the doors. That does not include some other stuff like the shifter, which was alone $110. We have the carbon and Alcantara e-brake, which was $100. We also have the carbon Alcantara shifter surround. That was $120. For this ambient lighting upgrade, that was about $70. And then moving on over here, which is gonna get a little more expensive, the 6WB cluster I bought used for $800. I bought just a normal M Sport steering wheel to begin with before getting this custom one. That way I can get the airbag and all like the buttons and stuff like that. That was $600. And then this custom steering wheel, this is gonna also vary a lot, but this one's about like $1,000. That also did not come with these carbon fiber shifters, which were $160 for both of them. We still have some more stuff like this M Sport door sill, which I also bought used for all 4 doors, which I actually needed 2, but I paid about $150 for all 4 of them. While I'm here, I also have those lights that are underneath the door, and they like shine like a BMW logo or something like that. Those were about $150. Next on the list are some cheaper items, thankfully. Those sport pedals down there, those are about $25, and then the crystal star button was about like $20. So lastly, we're gonna go into the performance mods. Now, the most expensive thing was the boot mod tune, as well as the maps, which was $650. We also have a keys charge pipe right in there. That was $290. We have a BMS air intake, which was $200. And then we also have a BMS oil catch can, which was another $200. Believe it or not, I think I spent the least amount of money on the performance for this car. Again, guys, it's a 4-cylinder. No need to go crazy on this thing. All right, so that was a lot of numbers, and I'm sure it was hard to keep track of everything. But in case you weren't, the total that I've spent on this 330i, which by the way, again, doesn't include shipping, doesn't include taxes, doesn't include installation, and also doesn't even include like maintenance on the car, just all that type of stuff. Literally just the cost of mods was $12,115. Yes, guys, over $12,000 of mods on this 330i, a 4-cylinder BMW. Now, I know a lot of you guys are already judging or rolling your eyes, but again, let me just reiterate, some of these mods I didn't even pay for. They were sponsored or heavily discounted. So the real number that I spent isn't even that number. So that's not really what I spent. That's just if you guys wanted to build this same car right now, what you'd be spending in mods. But regardless, it is a lot of money to spend on a car. Now, to give you guys another idea of how much I spent on the car itself. So this car I bought about 2 years ago. It had only 21,000 miles on it. And it was honestly a pretty nicely spec car, other than the fact that it wasn't an M Sport. It had like the leather, it had the winter package, it had the red interior, black sapphire metallic paint, whole bunch of things. I bought the car for about $23,000. So I've spent literally more than half of the price of the car in mods alone. Do I regret it? Absolutely not. I think the car looks absolutely amazing. It looks way more expensive than it did before when I first bought it. I think I kept things classy. I think I did things a little more reasonable. And again, at the end of the day, YouTube is a business for me. So if I didn't spend the money on these parts and make these videos, I wouldn't have been making money off this car. So in reality, I didn't really spend anything on this car because the money I made from YouTube really paid for the things that I even had to pay for, which is honestly a great way to do it. And if you guys want to do the same thing, hey, I would highly recommend it. Maybe YouTube, TikTok, whatever it is, it's a great way to monetize what would normally be just a hobby. But that's not what this video is about. I just wanted to give you guys a total cost of this 330i. Let me know if you guys think it was worth it, if you think I spent way too much money on it, you know, despite all the nuances of it, literally just the money on the mods. I could have definitely spent a lot more money on this car if I went like coilovers, if I went stage 2, if I did the downpipe, if I did big turbo, but I think where I stopped was a good place and definitely very reasonable for a 4-cylinder BMW, which I use as my daily driver, especially considering how much money I spend on my G80 M3. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was informative or entertaining. If it was, please drop it a like. And yeah, with that said, this video is pretty much done, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.